Shedeur Sanders, number 34 on your final board. Is that right? Where do you think he lands? And what was your final Shedeur Sanders evaluation or high level evaluation of Shedeur?
I've been pretty consistent with kind of how I viewed Shedeur. Like for whatever reason, it felt like during the season and even during the draft part of the season, it felt like you had to love him or hate him. And I'm here to say that you can just like him. It's okay. You don't have to have a strict opinion about he's going to be great or he's going to be terrible. But I think he can start in the NFL, but I think he needs a lot of help around him in order to succeed. And that's just not a player I would draft top 5 personally. And I think there's a good chance we don't see him go top 5. And then if he gets past the Giants at 3, and then we look at the Saints at 9, I don't think the Saints take him. And then we start talking about the Steelers at 21. Some of the teams in the back half of round 1 and possibilities of even the Giants or Browns moving up from round 2. Are we even positive that Shedeur will be the second quarterback drafted? I mean, it's not surprising if a team likes Jackson Dart over him. Tyler Shuck has a lot of love around the league. So that's a possibility as well. And then Jalen Milroe, I reported 2 weeks ago how he got accepted an invite to the draft in Green Bay. And what does that say about his confidence about going top 40, top 50? I mean, we've seen in the past, Malik Willis had an invite to the draft and he fell to the mid-third round. Matt Corral, same thing. So it's not like it's an invite to the draft isn't a golden ticket to be a first-round pick. But at the same time, I don't think Jalen Milroe would accept that if he thought he was going in the mid-third round. So are we going to see 5 quarterbacks in the top 50 then? And if we do, are 4 of those quarterbacks going to be between 20 and 50, which is kind of rare. We don't usually see that because either if you're good enough as a quarterback, usually you go top 10. Last year we had different play out on draft weekend. Are we going to see a lot of trades? Are we going to how many end up going first round and what order? So the quarterback musical chairs is really fascinating to me.
Do you find that Shedeur's, or did you find that he's a difficult guy to actually evaluate and project? I think, obviously when you're dealing with draft prospects, it's all, a large amount of it is projection to a greater degree or other. And for guys where the projection is sort of physical, it's a lot easier, right? Like Jalen Milroe, I think is a good example. You can see the physical traits. It's much easier to imagine a world where he becomes a really high-end NFL quarterback because the athleticism we know plays, the arm strength plays, all those kinds of things. With Shedeur, he doesn't have the high-end physical traits, and the projection is much more stylistic and almost mental. So separating him out from that Colorado offense, which was kind of hideous, right? The protection was abysmal. I don't think the system itself helped him out that much either. There's a ton of screens. So we're trying to project him forward without this safety net of all the physical tools. And that, I think, feels like a much more difficult thing to do than to just take the guy with the cannon and the big, and the legs and all those kinds of things and project him forward.
Well, and I have yet to find a good comp for Shedeur Sanders that I think makes sense, both physically and just like what you expect his career to be in the NFL. I've yet to come up with one that I love myself, and I've yet to hear one from somebody else that I think, oh yeah, nailed it. That makes perfect sense. And I, that kind of says something too. Because to your point, only 23.7% of his completions in college or this past 2 years at Colorado, were over 10 yards. So, he does have, you can throw on the tape and see him push the ball downfield. His throws over 20 yards are kind of similar to Cam Ward, but he doesn't utilize the intermediate part of the field a ton. Part of that was just the offense. But it does make it tough when you're making that projection, especially coming from the Big 12, which a lot of bad defenses. So you just take the top 3 defenses that he faced: Kansas State, Nebraska, BYU. All 3 were below average to average performances from Shedeur. So how do you take that information and, really feel confident about he's going to be this in the NFL? I've seen enough from him that I feel like he can start with the right things around him, but is he really going to elevate my offense? Is he someone that has the tools to make my offense clearly better, even if he doesn't have a stud wide receiver or a perfect top 5 in the league offensive line? I don't see that. Now, hey, I could absolutely be wrong, and there's things to like about Shedeur. I don't want to make it sound like he's, a lost cause as a prospect. He's smart, he's polished, tough. You love the fact that what he did at Colorado. Colorado is a 1-11 program in 2022. The last 2 years, they went 13-11, so better than 500. That's not easy to do. And Shedeur was a big part of doing that. So there's a lot to like about him as a player. And like I said, I think he can start. But if I'm not convinced that, like, this is the way I look at it, if I'm the Browns or the Giants picking in the top 3, if I'm not convinced that you have a path to being a top 12-ish quarterback in the NFL, I just can't take you there at that early. As much as I do like you as a quarterback, if I don't think that you can become a top 12 quarterback in the league, I just can't take you that early. And so I think that's how they're going to end up feeling. That's how a lot of teams are going to end up feeling. But at some point, he's going to get snatched up and have every opportunity to prove himself and prove me wrong and a lot of other people wrong and prove he can be a top 12 quarterback.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.